Good morning, scholars. It is Wednesday, April 29th today, almost the end of April. Today, we have just lots and lots of practice with order of operations. So make sure you have your scrap paper ready, your pencil ready. There's going to be lots of math in this video today. Quick shout outs to our friends who did get 100% yesterday on our independent practice from UNC. That was Ajane, Tenbeat, Miguel Angel, Lyric, and Anna Lee. Nice work. From SCU, Amelia, Abimael, Howell, Aiden, Nevaeh. And from Duke, Edwin, and Larry. So definitely more scholars than we had on Monday. Still making some mistakes with our order of operations. I was so impressed with scholars who came to office hours yesterday, scholars who are at reteach this morning, getting that help that they need, making sure that they understand the order of operations. As a reminder, if you are submitting your independent practice and getting scores like 2 out of 6, 3 out of 6, 2 out of 7, those are not great scores. Those are not the scores you want to count as your grades. You do not want to end fifth grade not knowing this material, right? So if you're not doing so well, please take the initiative to come to office hours. I'm happy to reopen your assignment so you can try it again, which is how a lot of these scholars ended up with 100%. All right, we are ready for tons of practice today. Make sure you have your scrap paper ready to go. We're just going to be practicing our order of operations. Before we dive into the first problem we're going to solve, let's just write ourselves a note at the top of our paper. I'm just going to write up here in my margin that word we always remember, gems. And then on your own, go ahead and by this point, we should be able to say what every single letter in GEMS stands for. I'm going to do mine. Go ahead and do yours. You should know what the G, the E, the M, and the S all stand for. All right, take your mark, get set, go. See if you can remember all of those letters. I would just highly recommend you have this on your paper as you're working through these problems right now and as you are doing them on your independent practice as well. All right, quick check. Let's see if we remember what every letter in GEMS stands for. That G stands for grouping. The G stands for grouping. That's our parentheses or brackets. The E, we haven't seen this a ton in fifth grade. The E stands for exponents. The E stands for exponents. That's if we have a number to the power of another number. We don't need to worry about this too much right now. I want you to know that that would come after grouping, but we're not going to see a ton of exponents. Next up is multiply and divide. So we have to make sure we're doing that multiplication and division before we're doing any S, subtraction and addition. Remember that these go in a very particular order. If we were going to number them, we have to go in this order. So I have to do my grouping symbols before I can do any exponents. I have to do my exponents before I can do any multiplication or division. And I have to do my multiplication and division before I can do any subtraction or addition. This is the area we tend to get a little bit tricked in with our multiplication and our division. So today we're going to be very focused, remembering that we have to multiply and divide before we can subtract and add. I am going to tell you that there are a lot of questions in your independent practice today. We are going to do the first half of them together right now, which means if you have your paper, you are taking great notes, you're solving them along with me right now, you're going to get such good practice with order of operations. You are going to be an expert and you'll already have the answers for questions 1 through 10. That's a lot of questions to already have done. So don't just turn on the video and go and do other things. Have your paper, have your pencil. Ultimately, you know you need to be able to do this if you're thinking about going to 6th grade math next year. So this is the time to practice. And then how great to already have the first 10 answers already ready to go for your independent practice. So let's dive right in. Go ahead and number your paper with number 1. We're copying the problem exactly like we see it right here. Go ahead. 21 plus 4 times 3 minus 5. I'm double checking that I have all of my parentheses where they need to go. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and check our order of operations. First thing we look for is our grouping. The first thing we look for is our grouping. Let's go ahead and take care of what's in our parentheses first. I am not trying to do any of this in my head. I'm going to rewrite on every line my new equation. So 21 plus 4 we know is 25. And then I'm just copying the rest of my equation exactly as it's written. Great, we took care of the grouping. Next thing I need to check is for exponents. I don't have any exponents. The third thing I have to check for is multiplication or division. I have to do my multiplication and division before I can even think about adding and subtracting. So my multiplication and division, I do have some multiplication right here. So let's go ahead and solve. 25 times 3, I know is 75. I'm going to copy the rest of my equation. And now that I'm left with only one piece left, that's the last one I'm going to do, it is subtraction. And when we do 75 minus 5, we do get to an answer of 70. Excellent. Your paper should match mine. You already have your answer for question number 1 on your independent practice. Nice work. Let's go ahead and dive into question number 2. Go ahead and copy it exactly as it's written. Once you get the hang of an order of operations, it's really fun. It's fun to just think, okay, what do I need to do next? What do I need to do next? What do I get to do next? All right, let's go back to the top. First thing we need to check for is grouping. GEMS, that G in GEMS is our first letter. So first I need to check for any grouping. I do have some grouping. Go ahead and solve what's in your parentheses and then copy the rest of the problem exactly as it's written. All right, next thing I need to check for is exponents. I don't have any exponents. Next thing I have to do, and I can already see some of you getting tricked, I have to multiply and divide before I can subtract and add. So nobody should be adding 12 plus 18. I cannot do that until I have divided 18 divided by 3. I have to do that division first. So let's go ahead and do that division. 18 divided by 3. If I don't know that fact off the top of my head, I can count by 3s. I do know 3 times 6 is 18. Let's go ahead and copy the rest of our expression. And now that I've done my division, now I can go ahead to my last step, which is subtract and add. I do have some addition, and so we can go ahead and add 12 plus 6. All right. If we hadn't used our order of operations, we may have said 12 plus 18 is 30, and then 30 divided by 3 is 10, and we would have gotten the wrong answer. This is just one of those things you have to memorize. This is the order that everyone, all of the brilliant mathematicians have just agreed that we go in. And so you do not get to make up your own order. You do not get to say, well, I feel like adding first today. It's just incorrect math. And so I know nobody put an answer of 10. I won't see that on anyone's independent practice because we solved this together. And the answer number 2 is 18 because we used our correct order of operations. All right, we're on a roll. Let's go ahead and move on to question number 3. Go ahead and copy it down exactly as it's written. I have 2 times 3 times 4 plus 10. Of course, when you're doing problems on your own, this is exactly how you'll be doing them, where you write it down on your paper. We don't try to do this in our head. You can no longer see my gems, but that's okay. No, you have it in your notes, and you're also starting to have it memorized. So let's check our order of operations. First thing we need to do is G grouping. Go ahead and take care of what's in those parentheses and copy the rest of the problem down exactly as it is. All right, next thing I need to check for is exponents. I don't have any exponents. Next thing I need to check for is multiplication and division, that M. Okay, here I have 2 multiplications. So now I'm just going to go from left to right because both of these are multiplication. 2 times 3 is 6. Copy the rest of my problem. All right, I'm left with 6 times 14. My last step I need to do. I know 6 times 10 is 60. I know 6 times 4 is 24. 60 plus 24 is 84. So we get to that answer of 84. All right, how great. You already have 3 correct answers for what will be on your independent practice because you've taken such great notes. Plus, you're getting the hang of order of operations. Moving on to question 4. You know the drill. Go ahead and write it down exactly as it is written. (11 minus 4 in those parentheses plus 18 divided by 2. All right. Starting to get the hang of this. Our order of operations, GEMS, G. G stands for grouping. Got to do what's in my grouping first. I'm going to do my 11 minus 4 first. Go ahead and write that down and then copy the rest of your equation. All right, this is one of those problems that some of us, many of us, have gotten tricked on. Some of you who got 2 out of 6 yesterday or 3 out of 6. It's because you were saying, oh, I'm just going to add 7 plus 18. And then I'm going to divide that by 2. It's not what we do. We have agreed that we have to use the order of operations. So after my grouping, I don't have any exponents. I now have to check for multiplication and division. And I do have some division. I have division right here. So I have to do this before I can start to add. It's just the order we have to go in. Luckily, this makes it even easier for me because 18 divided by 2 is a nice number of 9. Copy the rest of my problem. And now I'm just left with addition. And so I get to an answer of 16. Nice work. All right, moving on to number 5. Go ahead and copy it on your paper. All right, our order of operations. Let's check first for G grouping. I don't have any groups. I don't have any parentheses at all. Moving on to E, exponents. I don't have any exponents. This is great news. I get to move on to M, multiply and divide. All right, well, multiplication and division come on the same step. And here I'm just going to go from left to right. So I have division and then multiplication. Because multiplication and division are on that same level, if we go back and look at our GEMS, they are both part of step 3. So when we think about the order, they happen at the same time. I'm just going to go from left to right, kind of like I did here on problem number 3. When I had 2 multiplications, I just went from left to right. So same thing for number 5 right here. I'm just going to go from left to right with my division and my multiplication. 14 divided by 7 is 2. I'm going to copy the rest of my problem exactly as it is written. All right, now I need to do my multiplication because I didn't finish all the multiplication and division. So 2 times 14 is 28. Copy the rest of my problem. And now, only now that I've taken care of all my multiplication and division, now I can do my subtraction. 28 minus 2 is 26. All right, and now we all have a perfect answer for question number 5. All right, this one was a little trickier because I had both division and multiplication, but that's okay. I just go from left to right with multiplication and division because they are on the same level, the same level of order of operations. All right, question number 6. Go ahead and write it down on your paper. Go ahead and copy it exactly the way it is written. All right, and we start to think about our order of operations. First, I'm checking for grouping. I don't have any grouping, so I'm going to move on to checking for any exponents. I don't have any exponents, so next I'm going to check for multiply and divide. Do I have any multiplication or division? Thumbs up, thumbs down. I do. I have 8 divided by 2. I have to solve that before I can do my addition or subtraction. Go ahead and solve that. And then I copy the problem exactly as it's written after I did my 8 divided by 2. Now I don't have any more multiplication or division. I can now move on to subtracting and adding. Go ahead and finish up the problem because we have both subtraction and addition, both addition and subtraction. We're just going to go from left to right because they're on the same level step. All right, go ahead. All right. Moving on to question 7. Again, these are the same questions you're going to have in your independent practice. How fantastic to practice them now. Get every one of these correct, and then you'll have some more to try on your own. Go ahead and copy down question number 7. All right. Let's think about that order of operations. G, gems, G for grouping. I don't have any grouping. Great, let's move on to gems. E, exponents. I don't have any exponents. M, multiply, divide. All right, I have both division and multiplication. So here, I'm going to start with my division because it's right here on the left. Let's go ahead and divide. And then I'm going to copy the rest of the problem exactly as it's written. All right, this is where some of us are still getting tricked. Again, those of us that yesterday were getting like 2 or 3 out of 6, we were making this mistake. We were saying, okay, I'm just going to add 3 plus 11 and then do 14 times 7. It's not correct. That's not the correct order of operations. Our order of operations, the order we have to go in, tells us that I have to multiply before I can add because that M in gems comes before the S in subtract and add. So I have to take care of my multiplication first before addition. 11 times 7 is 77. Copy the rest of the problem. And our final answer. All right, moving on to number 8. Writing it down exactly as you see it. All right, quickly running through our gems. G, grouping, don't have any grouping symbols. E, exponents, don't have any exponents. M, multiply, divide. I have both division and multiplication. Division and multiplication are both on that same level. They're both step 3. So here I just go from left to right. So we'll first divide and then multiply. Go ahead. I'm not going to get tricked. I'm not going to try to add 8 plus 12 before I do my multiplication. You know, I actually wrote this problem down wrong for you guys. That's not the one that's in your independent practice. All right, let's skip question number 8 for right now. I don't want to confuse anyone if it's a little bit different. Let's go ahead and do question number 9. Sorry about that. And we'll come back to question number 8. All right, question number 9. Little break from solving. We are now working on writing these expressions. So I want you to write the expression for add 15 and 3 and then multiply by 4. Go ahead and try this one on your own. All right, add 15 and 3, and then multiply by 4. I want to add 15 and 3, and then I want to multiply by 4. And now we just need to ask ourselves, do we need to add any parentheses? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Do we need any parentheses? We do need parentheses. If we don't have parentheses, our order of operation tells us that we would first multiply 3 times 4. And then we're adding 15 plus 12, which is not the same as adding 15 and 3 and then multiplying by 4. Go ahead and add in your parentheses where you need them. Now this order of operations, because we have our grouping symbol, tells me to add 15 plus 3, and then we'll multiply by 4. All right, question number 10. This looks a lot like the bonus you had the other day. Which of these expressions are 5 times as large as 368 plus 912? Select 2 that apply. All right, using what you know about order of operations and parentheses, I want you to try this one on your own. Which of these are going to give you 5 times as large as 368 plus 912? All right, let's take a look at choice A. If we use our order of operations to solve choice A, no grouping symbols, no exponents, multiply, divide. I would have to first multiply 912 times 5 before I add in the 368. And now I'm no longer getting 5 times as large as 368 plus 912. I'm now getting 5 times as large as 912 and then adding in 368. So this one is not going to work. Let's take a look at choice B. 5 times 368 plus 912. Evaluate with your thumbs. Is this going to give me 5 times as large as 368 and 912? Let's check our order of operations. GEMS, G, grouping. The first thing I would do is 368 plus 912. Then I would multiply by 5. That would give me 5 times larger than 368 plus 912. So B is correct. Let's take a look at C. 5 times 368 plus 912. Evaluate with your thumbs. Is this going to give me 5 times as large as 368 plus 912? No, because here I'm multiplying 5 times 368. So I'm getting 5 times as large as 368 because my order of operations tells me to do my grouping first and my multiplication first. All right, so let's check our last choice because I know I need 2 that apply. 368 plus 912 and then multiplied by 5. Order of operations tells me I'll do what's in the parentheses first. So here I am going to get 5 times as large as 368 plus 912. So our answers would be B and D. All right, that was a lot of really great practice with our order of operations. The great news is that now you have your answers for questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. I'm taking out question 8. There was just a mistake in question 8. Which means when you go to do your independent practice, you already have all of these answers because you did such great work right along with me in this video. You'll then have some additional questions to practice on your own. As always, if you need any help as you are working, please come to office hours today at 3:15. Huge shout out to some scholars yesterday, like Hoel, who did not submit his work. He showed up at 3:15 and said, hey, I have a question on one of these questions. Talked about the question, and he ended up with a 100%. In fact, a lot of your friends you're seeing on the list of 100% are scholars who are coming to office hours to ask questions, get some help, get some additional practice. That's how we do really well in math. So excited to see who is at office hours this afternoon. Good luck solving. Cannot wait to see you acing these order of operations. See you guys tomorrow.